Hello and welcome to Education and More's Learn Python 3 Programming at a Snail's Pace. My name is Marcus Gardner and I'll be the instructor for this course. My apologies for making you wait for such a long time for this lesson. I've been sick. I still have bronchitis and I'm coughing a lot, but I decided I need to get back to doing these videos. So I'll try to keep the coughing down to a minimum, and that means I'll probably have to cut a lot. So if you see my head jerk a lot, is because I've cut something out from me coughing. I'm not a great editor, video editor, so I apologize for that, but hopefully, it won't affect my presentation. Okay, so in today's lesson, we're going to be putting it all together again, just like lesson 10, but we're going to deal with geometric patterns. Now, patterns are very important, especially when you get into big data. Now, big data is something you can make a lot of money in. Okay, it deals with a whole bunch of data that you have to process and do something with, whether that is to print out a report, do some statistics, use some artificial intelligence on. There's lots of things you can do with big data, but when you want to do something with big data, you need to know how it's separated. Is it comma separated? Is there quotation marks in there? How do you get at the data you're trying to get to? Now, I'm going to give a very small example using geometric patterns. Okay, and it's like one of the problems I gave you before, except it's a little bit harder. It's an 8-sided figure, and we want to try and be able to draw that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, so the problem is create an 8-sided figure based on the input of length of each side. So a minimum of 2, of course. If it's only one, then it's only just a star. Okay, so example, if the input is 3, this is what your picture would look like. Okay, now at first thought it seems, oh, this is going to be easy. Well, go ahead and try it. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do this. Okay. There are parts that are easy. The other parts not so easy. Okay. All right. So step by step. First, make sure you understand the problem. Okay. So you're going to want to print a couple spaces, some stars, space, star, spaces, star, etc. Okay. Notice the different pieces of the problem. Well, this and this are the same, and they are different from the other parts. These 3 are the same, and these 2 look to be the same, but they are in fact different. Okay, make sure you notice that. This one is going down. This one is going up. Okay, now you may not think, what's the difference? Well, that's because we're looking at just a 3. What happens when you look at a 4 or a 5? Okay, and so then we're going to need to get the input. Okay, in other words, the number, and then find all the formulas for the pieces. Okay, and let's see here. Formulas. Well, it's kind of hard to tell. What's the formula here? 1, 2, 1. So what I'm trying to do is find out where all the extra spaces are. So I got 2 spaces here, 3 stars. 1 space, a star. And then 3 spaces, 3 spaces, 3 spaces, 3 spaces, 3 spaces. I got the stars, I got 1 space, 1 space, 1, 2. Little hard to do. Okay? So let's go back to your math quizzes, tests, whatever, logic, whatever you want to call it, where you're given a sequence of numbers and you're asked what comes next. Have you ever noticed that sometimes they give you long patterns of numbers? You think, why did they give me so many? I don't need this many. Okay, for example, the first one, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And they ask you, what's the next 2 numbers? Everybody's thinking, well, why did you need to give me 5 of them? Okay, why not just 2 or 3? Okay, well, take a look at the second one, 1, 2. what's the next? You may think 3, 4. Okay? But there's not enough information. In my case, it was 1, 2, 4 because I was thinking 2 to the 0, which is 1, 2 to the 1, which is 2, and 2 to the second, which is 4. And then, of course, next would be 8, 2 to the third, 2 to the fourth is 16th, etc. You see, with 1, 2, there wasn't enough information. Okay? Here's another one. Here we got 3. 1, 1, 2. You may think, okay, 2 is next. And then 3, 3, or possibly 3, 3, 3, you know. Not really, but anyway. 1, 1, 2, 2, you might be thinking. But in this case, it's Fibonacci. You know, 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. And then the next one's 13, then 21, etc. Okay. So, you really sometimes need to look at something a little bit bigger. Okay? So, let's go back here. So, you want to do the top and bottom piece first. That's the easiest. Then the middle. Then do the rest of the pieces. Okay? All right. So, let's take a look here. 4, well, maybe you might be able to figure something out, but with 5, it makes things a little bit easier. So what do we got here? We have 5 stars based upon 4 spaces first. How about the one before? 4 stars, 3 spaces. So it looks like the top and bottom is going to have n minus 1 spaces and then n stars. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So let's make this a little bit smaller here. Okay. File new. File save as. And this is lesson 11. And then we have Python. Okay, save. So the first thing we want to do is, first off, ask for a number. Okay? So that means we're going to have to get the length. Okay? So we'll just call it length equals get length. We don't need to pass it anything. So first thing we need to do is define get length. Okay. This is where you're going to ask the person to tell you a number at least 2 in size. Okay. So, and we want to keep repeating in case they don't give you the right answer. So the first thing you want to do is say something like done equals 0. Okay, or false. Okay, I'm not done. Okay. While done is equal to 0, then do something. Okay. And this is going to say length is equal, we don't want to just jump in and get the thing. Remember I told you earlier, people make mistakes, or people may be trying to make mistakes. You know, test your code out. Does it work? What happens if I put an A in here? Or what if I was to put it 1.5? So we have to do a try statement. Okay. Try. Length equals int of input enter length bigger than or equal to 2. Okay. And then we have our except calls. Okay. Print. Please enter an integer only. And make sure it is bigger than or equal to 2. Okay. Now, Are we done? Nope. A couple of things we forgot to do. Okay. One, the except doesn't do anything about checking to see if it's 1 or not. Okay. We have to do that ourselves. So, if, now here, I'm underneath the try part, which means that it did not go to the except, so which means it's an integer. Okay? Because if it's going to fail right here before it gets to the if. Okay? As soon as it enters this, finishes this command, it's going to go to the except if it was not an integer. Alright? So, if length is less than 2, in other words, 1, 0, -1, -2, etc., then we're going to say print, please enter an integer greater than 1. Okay? Else, we need an else here, because otherwise we'll never be done. So we need to say done equals 1. In other words, we got an integer, 2 or bigger. Okay? And then we are done. So we return length. All right? All right. So test it. Like I always say, test it in small pieces. Okay? Print length. Okay, right click here, open in CMD, Python lesson 11.py. 1, integer greater than 1. Okay. K, integer only, make sure it is bigger than or equal to 2. Okay. 100. 100. Okay. We don't want to try printing out 100. This screen is not big enough for 100. Okay. But at least now you know it works. Okay. So that was the first part. Now, what did I say do first? Okay. And that is do the top and bottom pieces first. Okay. So what am I going to do? I am going to, let's go ahead and get rid of this. I'm going to comment it out. We don't need to get rid of it. Okay. And now we're going to print. I'm creating a function here. Okay. Top, bottom. And I'm going to pass it length. Okay. So I am going to define print top bottom. Okay. Now, you don't have to say the word print, you can do top bottom if you like. Okay. And then I'm going to pass it length. And then all I'm going to do here is print. Now, what did I say do? It's going to be length minus 1. Spaces. Okay. And that thing I taught you earlier about taking a number, times it by a character, and it will repeat it. Okay. Plus, now these are a string, so I'm going to add them together. Length times star. Let's see, did that match up? Okay, I need one more. Okay. And I don't need a return statement. Okay, I'm not returning anything. All right. So let's see what happens. Let's test it. Again, I like testing my things piece at a time. Okay. All right, so I got my top. Notice there's 2 spaces and then 3. Let's try again. ENTE is 4, so that's 4 spaces, and then I got my 5. So it looks like that's working fine. Okay. Now I want to do the middle. Now let's go back and look at the picture, the last picture I have here, and see if we can figure out what the middle is doing. Well, it's going to be 5 rows. So let's go ahead and get started here. Print middle length. Okay. Define print middle. Okay. So I'm going to say num equals 0. And while num is less than length, do something. In other words, I want to do it length number of times. If length is 5, like in this case here, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want to do it 5 times. Okay. And as we can see here, we're going to need 3 spaces, and then 5 spaces, and then 3 spaces. Okay. So look at the previous one. This was 4, 2 spaces, 4, 2 spaces. So do you think you can do the next line? What is my print statement going to be? Okay. What do I need in here? It's going to be a print statement. I'd like you to stop the video and see if you can figure out the print statement. Okay. One print statement that will print that whole line there. Okay. A star, and then some spaces, and then another star. Can you figure out that print statement? I think you can, so give it a try. Stop the video now, please. Okay, so first we are going to print a star. And then we're going to bunch of spaces. Now what are those spaces going to be? It's going to be, well, this is 4, this is 2, this is 2. This is 4, this is going to be, this is 5, this is going to be 3, 3. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be length minus 2, and length. Okay. All right, so length minus 2 plus length minus 2 plus length. Okay, we want that many spaces. All right, and then we want a star. Num equals num plus 1. Let's see if that worked. Okay. 3. Yep, looks good. Okay. How about 5? Oops. Ha ha ha. Got to run the program first. Okay. We still need our sides and of course the bottoms. But otherwise it looks like it might be correct. Okay. Now of course the bottom is just going to be a copy of this. Alright. But now we still need the diagonal. Now it looks like it would be the same, but it's not. Because look at this. You see, this one is got like 3 spaces, 2 spaces, 1. This one's 1, 2, 3. So it's going in the opposite order. All right. So you have 2 choices. One, you could write 2 separate functions. One for the top part, the top diagonal here. Okay. And then another one for the bottom part. Or you could write one function and then differentiate whether you're at top or bottom. Okay? I'm going to try that aspect. When we get done, you could rewrite it with 2 functions. Make sure you know how. Okay? All right. So let's print diagonal. So let's see here, print diagonal. I need the length, and I also want to say the up part, the top part, whatever you want to use, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to say down. This is to help me know inside the function, am I printing the top part or the bottom part? Okay, again, I want you to try writing 2 separate functions. Say print top diagonal, print bottom diagonal. So you don't have to do this, okay? But sometimes it's better to do something like this because you're going to be able to reuse some variables and stuff like that. Anyway, let's give it a shot. So let's see here. This is called print diagonal. And we're giving a length, and I'm going to say where. Where am I? Okay. Okay. So now this is 5, and there's only going to be 3. So I'm going to be doing a loop. So let's see here. Num equals 0. And then while num is less than length minus 2. Okay. We're going to be doing something. Okay. So let's go back and take a look at this picture. First, we're going to have 3 spaces. Then we're going to have 2 spaces. Then we're going to have 1 space. Okay? So the question is how to come up with some kind of formula that we could do in here. Okay? So let's think about that. We have 3. And this is 0. Okay? Well, 3 is length minus 2. Will that help us? Don't know. Let's take a look. How about the next one? It's 2, so that's 1 less. So maybe, just maybe, we can do this. Print length minus 2 minus num. Spaces. And then we'll print a star. Okay? Let's take a look here. All right? Length minus 2. Well, 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay. So the first time through we got 3, and num is equal to 0. So 3 minus 0 is 3. So we got 3 spaces. Okay, that looks good. How about the next time through? Well, we're going to need a num in here. Num equals num plus 1. Okay, so the next time num is 1. So again, length minus 2 is still going to be the same. It's still going to be 3. And now we're going to subtract 1. Hey, that gives us our 2. And then subtracting 1 again, subtracting num 2 will give us 1. So it looks like that might work. Okay. And then, let's see here. How many spaces are we going to have? Well, the first time through, we're going to have 0 spaces. And 1 and 2. So maybe we can use this num again. All right. So we're going to have num spaces. Num plus the length. That's this length here. Okay. And then that's how many spaces. Okay. Times space. And then we're going to have another star. Okay. Let's see if this works. Okay. Now again, this is only going to be dealing with the top part. Okay. It's going to execute both times, so the bottom part will be wrong. Okay. But let's just see how this looks. All right. See if we made any mistakes here. Okay. Well, that doesn't look good. Okay. But this part looked great. Okay. Let's try another one. So it looks like I'm not updating the N here. So let's take a look at the code, see what I did wrong. Okay. Yes. Okay, let's look at these numbers again. Length minus 2. I'm sorry, wrong one. All right. Length minus 2 minus num. Okay. That gives us these numbers over here. Okay. Then we do our star. Okay. The spaces. Then we have our star. And then I did num plus length. I forgot to add num again. Okay. See, the nums plus spaces from here to here. I forgot this num. So 1 and 1, 1, 2. So I need another num. And that will take care of it. Let's see if that works. Hey, that looks wonderful. Okay. So again, this part doesn't work. Okay. All right. So what we need to do is do something like if where is equal to up, then do all of that. Okay. Else, we don't need an else if. Okay. It's either up or it's down. Okay. So now what do we need to do? Well, let's look at it this way. All right. First time it was 1, 2, 3. This time it's 1. Okay. So instead of length minus 2, I think we're going to need num equal to 1 at the beginning. Okay. So we have 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to set num equal to 1. And then I'm going to say, because again, we still got to be the same here. While num is less than length minus 2. Because we can only do it 3 times if the length is 5. Okay? All right. So we're going to have num equals 1 the first time. And then num equals 2 the second time. Num equals 3 the third time. All right, so let's see here what we can do. Well, we're going to print num. Yeah, I think that's all we need. We don't need the parentheses in. We're not going to add it to anything. So, num spaces. Okay? And then we're going to add a star. Okay? And then here's our star. Okay, now we've got only 2. Okay, instead of 3. Okay? So, I think this is where we're going to do that length minus 2 again. Okay? And we're going to have to subtract num. Yeah, that's what it looks like it's going to be. So, we got length minus 2. Well, that would give me 3. Well, I don't want that. We want 2. So, we're going to subtract num. There we go. And that's how many spaces we have. Okay? But we don't want to make the same mistake we made last time. That will only take us up to here. Okay? Up to here. And then we got to add these others again. So, we need to, let's see here. Oh, we didn't even add that part there. So actually, we need 2 times this. So you can either do 2 times that or just, here, I'm going to just add it again. Length minus 2 minus num, and then length. Okay, so what did I do here? We have length. That's this part right here. We have length minus 2 minus num. That's this part. And we have another length minus 2 minus num. That's this part. Okay? And then we have our star. And now num equals num plus 1. Okay, now the small problem here. Possibly. Okay? Notice this part was num. Well, let's see if you can figure out if there's going to be a problem. Okay? Stop the video and see if you can think of whether there's going to be a problem or not. Okay. Well, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to run it and test it. Don't know. Just test it. Something went wrong. I forgot to save it. Always save your work. Okay. Well, did it work? No, something went wrong, didn't it? Notice a space here? Okay. See, there's 1, 2, 3 in the diagonal here, and this one's only got 2. So did you catch my mistake? See, the mistake was here. Num equals 0, and we're doing while num is less than or equal to length. Num is less than length minus 2. This time we did num equals 1, and we went from up to length minus 2. So we need to go up to length minus 1. We need to add one more step because num is already 1 higher here. Okay? Okay. That should take care of it. And let's try it. I saved it. Yes. Good. All right. Let's try 10. Whoops. You got to run the program first. Oh, isn't that a thing of beauty? Don't you just love it when a plan comes together? That's a quote from Hannibal Smith, I think his name. A-Team. One of my favorite TV programs from a long time ago. Not the new version. Old version. Okay. So, we're done. Okay. So, Now, a few things we didn't do. We did not write comments. So you should write comments for each of these. Now, as you notice, these are quite small programs, but still write some comments explaining what each of these do. Okay? And let's see here. Now, of course, it doesn't work well if you try to do something like this because the screen's not big enough. But, well, I guess you can do that. Okay, so I guess you can. Alright, but give it a try. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to separate this. Instead of calling it one time, I want you to separate it into two functions. The reason why I want you to do that is to see how much extra work there is when you either separate it into two or try to combine it. Sometimes combining it into one function produces a lot of extra overhead. Sometimes it saves extra work. So I want you to decide which way is easier, which one has less work. But in this case, you know, we're only talking about a few lines here. It really doesn't matter. This is just to give you some coding practice. Okay? So part of your homework is going to be separate this into two functions. Okay? Print diagonal. So you're going to have a print upper diagonal and a print lower diagonal. Make sure that you're able to do this program. Make sure you understood how I came about the formulas, you know, how you have to sometimes look at more than one picture, okay? Because, you know, just looking at this one, I couldn't do it, okay? There's not enough information here, okay? It doesn't tell me what really happens. I have to look at more, okay? I need to look at this one. And this one was the big key. This one helped me a lot, okay? Because when I saw the 5 stars and I saw the 4 here, that was easy key. And then I saw the 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. It made things a whole lot easier for me. So make sure when you get a problem to use some paper and pencil and to see what happens after a while. Okay? See if you can find a pattern, because that's going to be very, very important in programming. Finding patterns. Okay, let's see. Let's continue. You have some homework and, of course, some information about the class on my website. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this class and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.